gives the paranoid anxiety of like, I don't want any Rick and Morty fan hearing that and going like, Harmon's on Smith's podcast and he's talking about how it's great how he can take as much time off as he wants. The reason why we're not working on Rick and Morty right now ain't because I figured out that I don't need to impress you. It's still something called contract negotiations, and it's gotten complicated this time around.
In success.
I don't know if you saw the headlines, but Rick and Morty's in limbo. I
didn't see the headlines. What
Rick
did they
and Morty's
say?
in limbo.
It's not in limbo. It's where he's negotiating a contract. And I said,
you're still negotiating?
I said to the 5,000th kid that tweeted me, "Hey, you fat lazy alcoholic, stop being so slow writing the scripts." Like, because they're 15 and I understand that they don't know how TV works. I just don't understand why they're so horrible. Why are they so mean? Why are they so? You can't. When Community fans would go, "I'm upset right now because Annie kissed Jeff instead of Britta," I would go, first of all, you're crazy because you're upset with me and they're fictional characters. But second of all, that's how I feel about TV too. Thank you for the biggest compliment in the world, which is total immersion in my narrative. And I get it. I understand the compliment in this. I get it. These kids that are like, hey, it's like I go, hey, I ate a cupcake today, and they're like, why don't you fucking stop eating cupcakes and write the fucking show, you piece of shit? And it's like, what? We skipped the part where you like it, even. Like it's crazy. Clearly, you do, or you wouldn't.
Is there a world where that would work? Like a kid would go, will you stop eating cupcakes? And you'd write the script, and you read
and I would just write the show even though it hasn't been ordered by the network, which is why now the trades, because now I yelled at a 15-year-old, like, it hasn't been ordered. And then, so that it's like I can see on the Absolute Vodka sponsored sidebars of like the websites where I'm trying to like procrastinate. It's like I see like my name and I see Rick and Morty thumbnails and I'm like, you did it again. But is there a universe where a kid saying that would make me write a season of Rick and Morty by myself, without getting together with Justin? It was Justin, like, hey Justin, I'm just, you know what? This is taking so long. I'm gonna just start writing the show
because you're gonna have to write it anyway.
Right, exactly. And you know what? If we have to change it, we'll still have a head start. Fade in. Rick's like, I love inventing stuff, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't see. If there was a world where that was going to happen, I think maybe the kid would be saying something along the lines of, I have Lou Gehrig's disease, and I'd love to see a script of Rick and Morty before I die. And obviously, that's not I'm not going to get to see the show. Maybe not. Hey, you piece of shit. You're fat. This is why your wife left you. Like they dig into my personal life.
Yeah.
And I'm like how you don't know how TV works, and you don't know what you're 15. So you're supposed to be dumb, but you're not supposed to have this hubris. This is dangerous. I guess this is what all old people have said about young people forever.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. So just another Rick and Morty Season 4 update since I posted my last video a couple days ago. Dan Harmon talked about it on his Harmontown podcast recently, and I think he was pretty clear about what exactly is going on. Then Justin Roiland also separately made some comments. He just said, for everyone telling me to get back to work on Rick and Morty Season 4, turn your attention to Turner, talking about Turner Networks, who's the parent company that owns Adult Swim, which owns Rick and Morty. I'm waiting around just like you, making some cool games in the meantime though. His Squanch Tendo label makes a lot of virtual reality games. So if you are into that, that's actually another way to support Justin, but Dan Harmon isn't involved in that stuff, and it's separate from the Rick and Morty stuff that they do. Then Dan Harmon had the joke reply that no matter whose side you take in this, whether you take Adult Swim or Turner Network's side or Dan and Justin's side, it won't really make that much of a difference because both sides of this understand how valuable Rick and Morty is from a financial standpoint and a cultural standpoint. So in that last video that I posted where they're talking about how their contracts are up for renewal, that's really where you get to their disagreement. Like, how much is it worth to Adult Swim and how much do they want to give to Justin and Dan for the next season? meaning that they can't work on it till their agents lock down their deal. Like, it gives them less leverage if they're already working on it, because Adult Swim can say, oh, look, you're already working on it. They need Adult Swim's lawyers to sweat at the thought that they might not make Rick and Morty season 4, meaning that nobody would get any money. And it's all just part of the bargaining process that goes on in Hollywood.
I don't know, Morty. Some people would pay top dollar for that kind of breakthrough.
You know what, Rick? That's it. I'm done with these insane adventures. That was really traumatizing. I quit. I'm out.
Whoa, come on, Morty. Don't be like that. The universe is a crazy, chaotic place.
You're the one that's crazy and chaotic. Adventures are supposed to be simple and
The same exact thing is happening in the Marvel Universe right now with Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and a couple of the other actors from Phase 1 and Phase 2. Usually the actor, the producer, whoever it is, the writer, winds up getting a lot more money for further material. But obviously the sole goal of the network is to be a business entity and make more money, meaning they don't want to give them any of their deal points. So that's basically what's been taking this long. So I think this video that I posted yesterday was recorded back in June. It was like early June or something like that, about a month before Season 3 premiered. So you have to imagine that it's taken this long for Adult Swim and Dan and Justin's lawyers to hammer out a deal. And they're still going. That's why the other person on the podcast was like, you're still negotiating? It's almost like a year later and they're still at it. And the reason why Dan sort of joked about working on it by himself, it's taking too long, I'm just going to go ahead and start working on it, is that would also decrease their leverage in the deal, meaning that until paper is signed on ink, they can't touch Rick and Morty, which is why you see a lot of the producers, the animators, the other support staff from Rick and Morty moving on to other projects, just waiting for that deal to be signed so that they can all come back and start working on it. But the really good news in this is that the delay has absolutely nothing to do with creative burnout. It sounds like they're totally ready to make it, and had the deal been signed last year, they would have started immediately. So the delay has taken this long. It sounds like it's not going to last that much longer. Just charting the timeline, animation takes about a year to complete, so I would give them about 6 months to write the season and then start sending it off to animation, meaning that if Dan and Justin's lawyers and Adult Swim, Turner's lawyers, come to terms before the summer, then we can see Rick and Morty Season 4 episodes by the end of the year 2019, which would actually sync up with Mr. Poopy Butthole Big White Santa Claus beard.
I might even have a big white Santa Claus beard.
The funny thing is now I wonder if when they recorded that Mr. Poopy Butthole post-credit scene, if they knew that this deal was going to take a long time to hammer out because Rick and Morty had blown up so big. The ratings for the first couple of seasons were pretty good, but Season 3 was the most viewed season of a TV show that Adult Swim had ever had in the history of their network. So they also won a couple Annie Awards, so they basically just became this big cultural force, and even the trades were reporting that Rick and Morty Season 3 was the most watched television show of any kind of show, not just animated shows, amongst young people, meaning that there's just like a lot of money that they stand to make if they can hammer out a really good deal, which is why it's taking so long. Anytime there's that much money involved, it just goes on and on and on. No company or corporation out there is going to walk up to you and say, you know what, we want to give you even more money than we gave you before. So in the meantime, if you do want to support Dan and Justin, then buy the DVDs, buy the merchandise, they get a cut from that. The DVD is probably the easiest way to do that, and I will do a giveaway when it drops, which is happening pretty soon. But be sure to subscribe to get all the Rick and Morty bonus videos. Leave your requests in the comments below. And you can click here to rewatch that video of them actually talking about Season 4, just joking about their contract renewals. And you can click here to rewatch that Deadpool trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.